Alright, folks. So, the dumb left strikes again, folks. That's right. I'm your host, Andrea. I host the I Love Democrats News Hour, where, you know, we just finished our segment about how AOC is a progressive champion, and she's really fighting, and I don't know what she's fighting for, but God, I love her. And, you know, Joe Biden, you know, he's just a great guy. You ever see him eat ice cream? God damn. But anyway, so I got a comment on Brianna Joy Gray once again. So, the Bad Faith podcast. So I'm on her page. I'm still following her because it's hard. This is a hard button to click, folks, but I'm still doing it. You might like Snapdragon. Okay, well, I don't know what that is. Virgil, Texas. Huh. Co-host of the Bad Faith pod. Let's check out Virgil, Texas. June 8th. Folks, where's Virgil, Texas? But anyway, so Brianna Joy Gray, episode 100. I don't know. You'd think, oh, you're 100 episodes in. Awesome. You've done 100 episodes of your show. Where's your co-host on? Are you going to get them on to celebrate? Are you going to get your co-host on to celebrate 100 episodes of Bad Faith? Right? Like, I mean, that's just me.
Honestly, Sam, if I could just get this sentence out, we can talk about Jimmy Dore can go and kill 15 kids tomorrow, and I still believe in force the vote.
All right, so she's done it again, folks. Pinned tweet. Let's get it.
Left thinks that you shouldn't talk about third parties. Half the left literally calls the other half the dumb left for articulating any value or interest in third party candidacies.
Okay, so first of all, the idea that this is half. This is the same shit Republicans do when they complain, oh, half the country voted for Donald Trump, I'll have you know. No, half the country did not vote for Donald Trump. It's really only like 20 to 25%. It's just that they're really loud and really annoying. Oh, but half the country supports Republican politicians. No, it's only like maybe at the very most 30%, but even then, not even close. So the idea that it's half the left that calls the other, it's just split right down the middle. 50% of left-wingers polled want to do a third party. 50% polled calls them dumb left. It's split down the middle. Scientific poll. Anyway, let's watch.
Half the left thinks that you shouldn't talk about third parties. Half the left literally calls the other half the dumb left for articulating any value or interest.
By the way, shout outs to the late Michael Brooks for the phrase dumb left. It's really getting some good mileage in 2021. Now, let me tell you, this is some good stuff.
Third party candidacies. Half the left thinks that the other half of the left is monstrous villains who attack women of color for critiquing the efficacy of squad members. Right?
So, folks, like, I'm sorry, but, like, imagine a world, right? Imagine a world where, like, your only understanding of Force the Vote is through the Bad Faith podcast. Like, you've never interacted with Jimmy Dore. You've never interacted with any of his fanboys. You've never seen any of my videos. Right? You're just watching, you supported the Bernie campaign, you followed her because she was the whatever, right? And it's like, oh yeah, the Force the Vote sounds like a decent idea. Like, you might genuinely think that there is this, that there are people out there, like a G-Hive or something, going out there saying, if you support third parties, you're a dumb. Not to be confused with the lollipop, right? When in reality, it's the other way around, right? It's the Force the Vote people that are going out there, attacking anyone who disagrees with them, lying about them. I've been called an establishment shill. I've said, people have wrote novels on my YouTube channel saying that I cheerlead Democrats and my entire YouTube career is about, like, supporting AOC or something. They literally, they think that, right? And so there is a side, and it's not half. It's certainly not half. It's maybe like 10% Now, first of all, we have to define what the left is. What is the left? Anyone who is maybe to the left on policy of the Democratic Party? Well, if that's the case, I've got news for you. 5% maximum of those people are forced to voters. And that, like, you might be asking, where's the proof? Look at the forced to vote march. Look at the March for Medicare for All. No one attended these events because they were hosted and ran by forced to voters, and no one likes them. So it's certainly not half, right? And then also, I just played Jimmy Dore video from yesterday of him basically saying Bernie's an establishment tool cuck loser. How is that critiquing the efficacy of squad members? It's not. It's being a weirdo. Now again, I disagree with a lot of what Bernie Sanders has to say, but you know what? I've moved on. My focus is on direct action and then also making fun of stupid people on the internet. That's what my focus on is politically. Is what's actually happening in the real world, and then also taking some time out of my day every once in a while to make fun of some stupid ass motherfuckers. Because we all need a little bit of comedic relief.
Right? One might call them the institutional left, is doing the work.
One might call them, many people are saying. I'm not saying this, but it's many people. There's many people, and they say, it's a 5-year-old who told me. They said that it's many people, and they're telling me that's... One might call them the institutional left. Again, this is like... If you advocate for direct action, protesting the government, mutual aid, you're an institutionalist. You support the Democratic Party. You have to support a third party or else you're an institutionalist. If you think, oh, we should just abandon electoral politics and instead organize, like, let's say a tenant union or, like, you know, like a labor unions or anything like that, nah. That's institutionalism. You gotta support the People's Party or else you're a Democratic shill. It's a binary, folks.
I would argue of backing people away from exactly those strategies that would create fear that is useful for us. And they're doing it under the cover of saying, well, we have all of these team players on the inside. We have to protect them now.
No one has said that. Zero people in the world ever in human history have said we got to protect AOC. Because we have team players. By the way, this is where we get into Hasan Piker. AOC, we gotta protect her. Oh, everything she says is amazing, and I love her because she said Medicare for all once. We gotta protect. No one says that. 0% of the human population in the history of the world, both looking forward and looking backward, right? They have ever said that. No one thinks that. It's, yes, we have people that are in favor of Medicare for all in Congress, so let's ignore them and support them when they do good things, and then attack the corporate Democrats like Steny Hoyer, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, etc. Like, there are 435 members of the House of Representatives, 535 members of Congress total, and you choose the 5 or 6 that are on our side as the ones that are the main characters, the villains. That would be like, let's assume we're watching like Dragon Ball Z, also known as Dragon Ball Z, right? Let's assume we're in like the Cell Saga, right? Now imagine there's Cell, right? I'm Cell. And instead of focusing on, like, you know, saving the world from Cell, you're out there like, you know, like, I don't know, patrolling the streets for someone who's smoking weed. Bro, Cell is right there. He's about to destroy the fucking universe, and you're out there going after someone for smoking weed? What are you doing? Like, he's right there. He's about to use the Kamehameha, like the world's about to explode, and you're out there doing this stupid shit.
The House Discourse is silly, but when people say, okay, well, my critique of Hasan Piker, and this is a critique that I've seen that I'm articulating. You know, I'm not... You know,
Many people are saying. This is something that I saw. They called me on the phone. Where is my phone? I threw it earlier. They called me on the phone. They say, many people. That's what they say. They say, so I want you. So now I don't know where I just many people are saying this, and then you can tell us someone else that many people are saying. But Some people are saying that Hasan has a house, and that's good because he didn't support forced vote. I'm not saying that. And then she puts the phone down. So someone told me that someone else, you know, my friends, brothers, mother-in-laws, cousins, best friends, bridesmaids, fucking, you know, car mechanics, you know, guy got an oil change, and while he was there, he was talking to someone in the lobby who happened to know a guy who knew someone who might have thought something, who time traveled at one point, and then they spoke to someone in, like, you know, the year 2143, and then they put that message in a bottle, and then they used, like, the space-time vortex, and then they traveled it, but they overshot it, and then they you know, my grandfather found it, you know, because it went back in time too far, and then he passed it down a couple generations, but then my grandfather died. And then when he passed it down, it turned out that person was adopted, and it wasn't actually my real grandfather. And then just say that this is your opinion. Just let us know that this is what you're saying. You don't have to give us the many people are saying bullshit. No one cares.
Staking a claim here. But that, you know, because he is opposed to third parties, because he generally speaking is, you know, defensive of the squad members, because he wasn't supportive of efforts like Force the Vote, that is part of why we're frustrated that he has been able to earn so much money and buy this house, let's say.
This is her pinned tweet, folks. Pinned tweet. I don't know if you can see this. By the way, I still have this tab open. Where's Virgil Texas? Does anyone know? Anyway, this is her pinned tweet. Crying about Hasan Piker's house and being mad at the dumb left term. Like, imagine you don't have Twitter. Let's say you like supported Bernie Sanders, you don't have Twitter, and you go like, huh, I wonder what like the press secretary for the Bernie campaign's up to. Let me make a Twitter account, and then this is the tweet you find. Some guy on Twitch bought a house and he didn't support Force the Vote.
And that the people who are doing the best in the left ecosystem are the people, not frankly Jimmy Dore, he's an outlier there, I'd say, but are the people who have kind of closed ranks around lefty institutional actors, perhaps for access reasons, perhaps who knows why.
Like this is such a huge conspiracy theory, and this is why I say QAnon is like Force the Vote, right? Like, saying AOC is the closest ally we have in Congress, but she's wrong a lot and we have to push her when she's wrong, but also there's 428 members of Congress that are members of the House that are probably better targets for this. Those are very logical opinions, but when in Brianna Joy Gray's fantasy world, it's like, oh, they're institutional lefties, they're doing this for access. Access to what? What are they accessing? If you were doing stuff for access, you know what you would do? You would back up Nancy Pelosi, Steny Hoyer, all those fucking goofballs. That's who you'd be backing up if you wanted access. Yeah, let me support the least popular member of Congress. There you go. The least effective, the one with the lowest amount of power. There you go. That's who I'm going to hitch my wagon to. What? For access? Where's the access? Does anyone know?
It could be sincere sympathies. But that's part of what's motivating, I think, this fracture. It's not all superficial.
When I went to seminary, I went to Harvard Divinity School. I lived in Roxbury, and I commuted.
So now we have Chris Hedges giving us his life story. Let's check it out.
Into Cambridge every day. And that's where I say I learned to hate liberals. Well, all these people sitting around talking about empowering.
It's funny because Brianna Joy Gray is a textbook liberal. What is a liberal? Right? Like, let's really, really play this out. Brianna Joy Gray is a corporate lawyer. She worked on a presidential campaign. Right? She only talks about legislation. And she only talks about how to enact certain pieces of legislation within the congressional system. That's a liberal, folks. I'm sorry. This bitch is a liberal. I'm sorry for saying the word bitch. I have a potty mouth. She is a liberal. Is she going out there advocating for direct action? Is she going out there marching in the streets? Is she going out there getting arrested at protests? No! She's a liberal. Did she even go to the March for Medicare for All? No! She's a liberal. She's a liberal that adopts this weird social democrat aesthetic. And she's barely a social democrat because she doesn't even support social democratic politicians. She is not a socialist. She is not a communist. By the way, doesn't she work for Current Affairs? Where was she on the recent Current Affairs drama? Nowhere to be found. She is not a socialist. She is a liberal. But let's go on.
People they never met. They were flying off to Nicaragua to pick coffee a week with a Sandinista.
What the fuck does this have to... So, yeah, many people are saying Hasan Piker bought a house and he didn't support Force the Vote. And then Chris Hedges is like, let me tell you about this time some guy I met in college, he went to Nicaragua, and then he was like, you know what, and then, my mother, and then I went to school, and then I got a lollipop at the store, and then I met, Hillary Clinton, who was still Hillary Rodham at the time, and what the fuck? Yo, seriously, what is this? Like, does anyone know? Like, what am I watching?
And coming back and talking about it for the rest of the semester. Those are the kind of activists you're speaking about, boutique activists who have traditionally been and remain utterly irrelevant, not important, and not worth your time or your energy even responding to.
Wait, Bad Faith with Brianna Joy Gray and Virgil Texas. Let me go look up this Virgil Texas guy. Public intellectual. Well, if he's such a public intellectual, let me look him up. Look him up on Google. Whoa. Whoa, folks. What is this? What is going on here? Like, seriously, why would you still have that shit in your graphics? Like, the guy's been gonzo for like 3 months, and like, why? Like, I wouldn't want to be associated with that, right? Like, it's one thing if you're old, you don't want to update your old shows or whatever. That's one thing, but imagine you haven't changed the outro promo card. It still says fucking Virgil Texas. I'm dead, dude. I'm dead. I'm fucking dead. I'm dead. I'm gonna die. I'm dead, and I'm dying, and I'm a dead dog woofing. Like, I don't even know what to tell you. But I think, this shit is hilarious. So I really wanted to touch on it. But again, the Force the Voters, they literally live in a conspiracy world. They think it's literally like the Republican QAnon thing. They think they're the silent majority or something, when they're all delusional. And I wanted to talk about another one that was delusional too. And this one I don't think I've